So, Aaron, if you could introduce the other folks on the call, or if they could introduce themselves, and that'd be great.
Yeah, so Bryn is my wife,
Hello.
and
Hi, Bryn.
Hi.
she writes all the content for the site. And then Neil does PPC, so he just is joining us. He actually works at SEO.com as well.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Well,
Tim.
hey, Neil. Well, I'm glad to help you guys out with this with your project here. Just in terms of the format, I just want to describe what we're going to be doing here. First of all, this is all being recorded, so I'll be able to share the video with you. I don't see any of you yet on the shared meeting or screen sharing part. There should be a link in your invitation. If you could click on that, I'll fire up the GoToMeeting application. Then you'll be able to...
I think
I
we're
can
all
see
there.
her.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you can
I
see
can
the
see it.
screen? Okay, great. All right.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is go through a structured review of your site, which is going to cover the professionalism and first impressions, the page shell and use of real estate, kind of the screen real estate. We'll talk about how you've organized the site and your navigation. And then, of course, we'll talk about the content area itself and your calls to action, as well as your use of trust and credibility to enhance the purchase. Okay?
Great.
And feel free to interrupt if you need any clarifications, or if you want to, if I misunderstood something and you want to move me in a different direction. And at the end, if there are any more kind of open-ended questions that come up because of the conversation, you can ask then. I have to warn you, I'm not known for my bedside manner, if Jay hasn't told you this already, so I'm going to be hard on you and be calling your baby ugly here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We're in this to make money. We're not sensitive on the design. So
Okay, well, just you say that now, but if I make you cry, you may change your mind.
bring it on, Tim.
All right, all right. Um, don't be so cocky. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's get started. And again, this will all be recorded, so I think it'll probably be going too quick to take notes unless you want to just jot down a few things. You probably want to listen back to the recording later. All right, so let's start first with first impressions, because that's inevitable. That's how many people decide whether to buy from you or not. And one thing we know from research is that people form a first impression of your site in a 20th of a second. No, that's pretty fast. It's basically subliminal and automatic, and we all know when we come to a site whether it's cheesy or professional, or rather where it lies on that continuum, right? And one thing we also know from research is that if you have a bad first impression of a site, then the conversion rate is lower. So you're kind of digging your way out of a deep hole. So let's see if we can deconstruct this first impression. All right, so what I want to start with is by looking at the logo area, because that's where kind of what anchors our experience when we first get to the website. And it says Hemorrhoid Harry. And then over here, by the way, where I'm not looking, it says get rid of your hemorrhoids. So I have some issues with this with the current logo. Okay, first of all, I know that's his name, but if I actually manage to spell hemorrhoids correctly, that hemorrhoid is a little bit of a kind of twisting of the name, right, or the word. I would never think to spell it that way. I'm not going to remember it. I mean, I might remember Hemorrhoid Harry, but if you don't have the domain Hemorrhoid Harry, you should get that one, because the whole point is to be memorable, and I wouldn't think of some kind of weird misspelling of it as being the memorable thing. I'm just going to remember the alliteration of Hemorrhoid Harry. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, the spelling was intentional, and we actually find more people spell it that way than they spell it the correct way.
Okay.
So that was intentional in terms of a branding perspective, but I get what you're saying.
So you should also get the other domain then and redirect it.
We do. Yeah,
Okay,
we have it.
okay, good. Just want to double check. All right, so you're not losing any traffic on that account. All right, Hemorrhoid Harry. Okay, is he a superhero? Is he a cartoon character?
He's a cartoon character.
No, what I mean is he's not. What are you guys about? One of the missed opportunities here is to have a tagline below your logo that describes what you do. So get rid of your hemorrhoids, might be a tagline, or it might be natural hemorrhoid treatment, all natural hemorrhoid treatment. Okay, that's probably a better one. In other words, what you want is a tagline that functionally describes exactly what you do. So I don't have to guess about it, and that's why I was joking. Is he a cartoon character or is he a superhero? Because I can't tell. Maybe it's kind of some sick, kind of like the Simpsons actual guy or whatever. You have a cartoon strip around him. I have no idea. So just tell me what you do, which is all natural hemorrhoid treatment. Okay?
Okay.
And I guess that's supposed to be kind of funny, but and it does look painful with the poor guy's butt, but maybe you can make the point a little more subtly. I know you have some investment in the packaging, but most of your people are first-time and hopefully one-time buyers, so it's not like they're recommending it to their friends. They're probably a little too sensitive to. This is one of those topics like herpes that you don't really talk to your friends about.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of referrals.
Yeah, so you might consider just having a little more professional logo design, I guess, is the point. And there's lots of places, you could go that are very inexpensive. For example, logotournament.com is. Are you familiar with sites like that are contest sites, and you pay?
Yeah, Logo My Way.
Yeah. So you pay some amount. They guarantee a certain number of submissions. You kick out the ones you don't like, refine the ones you do, and you can get to a pretty. Cool. 99 Designs is another one that I'm a fan of. You can pretty much create everything on their site, including logo. They even have a pre-made logo store for $99 where they'll customize. Sorry. See what that is. Well, not too much on hemorrhoids, but let's just say medical. You can take a logo and then you just put your name in it, and there you go. You're done. They'll put the name in for you, that is. Or look up herbal. I mean, see, they have all kinds of. If you didn't want to do the hairy too literally, there's all kinds of ways you can go with kind of the herbal natural thing. You get the idea. Anyway, just poke around. But you could do with and in general, what you want to do, some other qualities of your logo, just as long as we're on the subject, is you see how 99 Designs has their little avatar, 99 right there, and Logo Tournament's got the Coliseum, but you don't get that. It just looks like a big black blob. You don't really get the whole point of their Coliseum logo because it breaks down in small size. So one thing, if you're doing any social media, which you probably should be, is whenever you're on like Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, you have basically a square little avatar, room for a square one. For example, like on my TweetDeck account here, let's see. Hold on one second.
I was going to say, we'll see all your direct messages and know all your secrets.
Yes. I'm not too worried since I don't have anything brilliant or interesting. But you see how, I'm just saying, here's our Site Tuners avatar, and it's got our logo in it. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you want is something that'll hold up like that. In other words, the general layout of your logo should be kind of a squarish graphic that holds up in different sizes, your name, and then right below that, the tagline. So it's basically horizontal and compact, but you have the opportunity to brand yourself via a strong color or a graphical element there. So you might want to make Hemorrhoid Harry a character, or you can call the site Hemorrhoid Harry and have a picture of him, but the actual logo would be more of a square or square with rounded edges kind of radius design. Okay. More in the kind of herbal tradition, like I showed you on the 99 Designs. have something kind of green and natural looking, whatever. Okay, just a thought. So beyond the logo, the colors, they're a little autumnal, which they're not quite natural looking. In other words, I would expect if you're using green for it to be more growing green rather than olive drab green, and then the same goes with your kind of dark orange. It's okay, but it's perfect for this time of year. But to me, this looks like kind of like October, Thanksgiving, or Halloween colors. It's not particularly cheerful. It's just a little on the drab side. Okay, just an observation. If you're having fun with it, how you can have a little more fun and just kind of make it more pastel-y and a little brighter, perhaps. But the general color theme, you have green's the dominant color, orange for accents. It's okay. I mean, they're complementary colors. No major issues there. Fonts. You have a lot of different fonts on this page, and I'm a little unclear as to why. Would it surprise you if I said you had 20 different font treatments on just this visible portion of the page alone?
Wow.
Yeah, that would be surprising.
Well, okay, let me clarify what I mean by font treatment. I don't mean font family, which is how most people think of it, but if you have a different family or you have a different font size, underlining, bolding, all capping, and anything like italics. So all of those would be different font treatments. So for example, let's see, you have one font here, another font here, third font here, a fourth font here, a fifth font because you're italicizing, sixth font here because it's on orange, a seventh font here because it's on like greenish gray, eighth font, ninth font, 10th font, 11th font, 12th, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, we're right about at 20. Which is a lot of different font treatments, and really the way to think about it is, fonts are needed to organize information on the page. So different font treatment tells me that the purpose of the font or the function it serves is different. So it's okay to have a nav font, it's okay to have a headline font and body copy and links, but beyond that, really try to control it a little better, I would say. Is that fair?
Okay.
Just kind of cut back and don't make everything, why in the middle of a paragraph are you going to crazy all bold stuff? If that's the most important thing, make that the headline or the first thing in the paragraph. But you're basically saying skip all this stuff and read all this stuff, which is really weird if your message doesn't begin until kind of 3 or 4 sentences in. And all bolding a whole sentence, it's one thing to bold a word, is really the equivalent of shouting on the web, just like all capitals would be. So I find it a little strange. I mean, I'm not talking about the content itself now, just the kind of the font treatments or the ordering of the fonts here. Okay. Let's talk about the image quality next. Now, there are 2 types of images, I guess you could say, in your website. There's the page construction images, and then there are the content or editorial images. And so let's take a look at each of those in turn. Right. So in terms of page construction, again, I'm going to leave your logo out of this. You have radiusing, you have a bit of drop shadow, you have some texture along the background here, and then you have these, how would you say, half radiused and half straight looks. Oops, my pen's acting up. I'm going to reset it. Okay, bear with me here. Okay, you should be able to see my screen in a second here. So you kind of have this big radius look for the website as a whole, then you have some straight angles like on the nav part, and then embedded within that you have this kind of half radius and half straight edge look. And then here on your questions, it's again another radius thing, but this one's got an outer glow on it, and then so I think you have to kind of decide, are you going to go roundy or are you going to go more straight? But mixing the 2 of them is not quite working for me. I think if you want to be more approachable, stay with the roundy. You don't necessarily need the extremely large radiusing like you're doing now, but it's okay to have some, but use it consistently throughout. Okay. And also, these look more like buttons to me rather than nav items because they're islands of color on the nav bar instead of, you do have these little very subtle vertical separators on the nav bar, but they're too subtle. They kind of get lost. So if this is supposed to be a tab metaphor, then go ahead and make that a tab and connect it to the white of the page. Okay. But having them look like buttons is a little bit unusual. So the page construction images, just a little more consistency there, mainly on the radiusing and how you do that. In terms of the editorial images, well, let's see, there's not much. There's a screenshot. There's the your hand-drawn arrow, and then there's the product shot. Let's see, the screenshot looks like crap. It's blurry, it's small. You've actually disguised some, the from part of the email, but it almost looks like kind of an afterthought or a bit amateurish. So if you
blurred to keep the person anonymous.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but maybe you just clip that whole from line, or and still get the point across. But I'm just worried about, I'm just talking about the quality of how readable it is, really.
Okay.
Where the cropping is done, so it kind of looks like, yeah, you did a screen grab, but I mean, just do it a bit tighter and a bit cleaner. Maybe not put such a dark key line around it. Maybe just a light gray one like this email outer box itself. Just basically, there's things you could do to improve the impact of it visually. This thing, I don't know. I understand you're trying to draw attention, but you're trying to draw attention to something that most people aren't really familiar with. Most people don't listen to little audio clips, so they're not even familiar with the fact that that's a player. It looks like just this gray thing on the page. More typical would be more of a speaker cone with a little radiating sound coming out or something like that. So find a different icon. And then instead of the text, you're expecting me to read it, which I don't. But so what I really get is just arrow pointing to a gray thing. So if that's really an important piece of content that you need me to consume first, then you need to have a different graphical representation for it. And then finally, the box shot itself. This is the product, right? I mean, the bottle shot itself. It's tiny, it's blurry, it's off in the corner. I don't really get that that's a high-quality image. It's unreadable. So let's say you're supposed to be highlighting your product. That's not exactly doing it. So if I had to, and again, Aaron, I know that in your questionnaire you said I designed this all myself, and this is kind of at the limit of my creative skills. So get a little help with that. Even again, if you just go back to 99 Designs or Elance or one of these sites, there are a lot of people that will build you a whole new site for a few $100 kind of thing, and it's probably worth it in terms of just the first impression you're going to get. So. They have back on their homepage. I don't know why it's not going there. Okay, yeah. So I mean, if you just go there, or again, Elance is another site that some of our clients have used for quick fixes like this. And you just put out a statement of work, and people bid on it, and then you can see what their reputations are and so on. But
I'm familiar with Elance.
Okay. All right. So. Overall, I'd say first impression, I give it about a D. It's not an outright fail, and we don't grade on a curve, by the way, so we fail a lot of sites. But, I mean, it's okay, but it's clearly not the super professional. And I know you're trying to be kind of cute and cartoony too, so you may say, hey, that's not fair. But even in terms of cute and cartoony, I find your question bubble here to be much higher quality than the rest of the site. For example.
Well, the question bubble is a third-party chat system, so I don't have any control over what that even looks like.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, but you see what I mean. I mean, at least it matches your brand orange, or pretty close to it. My point is, whatever it is, yeah, whatever the emergent quality of that is, of that little chat talk box, it seems to have higher production quality than the site behind it. It's just, but what I'm saying is there's nothing preventing you from bringing up the production quality of the site. Okay, and you probably should. By the way, while we're on the subject of text, it seems like this is kind of just jumbo text in terms of size. I don't know what size that is. You probably know better, but it looks like 14 point to me, which is a bit on the large side. Okay.
You would use smaller text?
Yeah, probably, if that's 14, then I'd make it 12.
Okay.
For the body text, something like that. I mean, not tiny, but,
Would you do that for all the pages or just
yeah,
the home
yeah,
page?
it's just, and I would do it for all of them.
Okay.
So if you have that in one place, like a cascading style sheet, just make that change globally. Okay. Any thoughts or comments on first impressions? Do you think I'm fared greater or I'm being too harsh?
No, I think you're fair. We've never been in love with the design. We know we're very limited in talent and budget for that.
Okay. All right, well, then let's move on to the page shell and just use of real estate. You're seeing the page right now on kind of like a fairly small screen. I'm going to expand it out to my 24-inch monitor just so you can see it. Okay, so I just want to point out some elements of just page construction that I think you need to be aware of. And there's some good things and some areas of improvement here as well. Okay, first of all, you have a page that's centered, which is good. It's fixed width. That's good. It's got a clear page edge and containment. Okay, that's good. So I know where it ends. It's got boring dark sides, and that's good because you want me paying attention here. It has a white body, which is the highest contrast available, and that's all good. I would so generally it's good. I just want you to improve it a little bit more. And by the way, I'm going to show you our site, which is in the middle of a redesign right now. It's 3 or 4 years old. It stinks, but I just want to show you a couple of elements of it, though, that you should be aware of. So very similar to yours. Actually, you know what? Yours is a bit, now that I look at it, yours is a bit narrower for some reason. I think you're on a different, so if I had to mark this, your edge of your page goes right about to this E here in Elance. Let me see. Ours is about a ½ inch wider on each side. We're using a 960 pixel grid, so it fits inside of a 1024 window with the scroll bar and a little of the side skirting showing. So I think that if you redesign it, you want to go to that 960 page width. Okay, just incidentally. Okay, but the main thing I wanted to show you here is that even if it wasn't for the Alka-Seltzer tablets in the middle, would it be fair to say that your eye is kind of looking at this portion of the page?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, the reason that's happening is because we've separated the page shell from the rest of the content. In other words, the way what we're doing is it clear that everything to the right of this line is context, and to the left of this line is navigation, and the top here is header, and the bottom is a footer, right? They're not white. We're saying non-white stuff is not content. Only the content has the high contrast white. And your visual system naturally prioritizes things from, when you say something like, it recedes into the background, think about that phrase. What does that even mean? Well, it's darker, right? If something recedes in the background, it's far away, it's less immediate, it's less important. So we automatically prioritize brighter stuff as being more intense or interesting. And so here we go from a medium color to a slightly lighter color on this boundary, and then from lighter to white. Whatever direction you come in from, it's getting lighter towards the center. That's an important principle, and so is the not having white only in the content of the page. And then another refinement is that the sides are boring and darker, but not dark or oppressive and without any pattern in it. So yours has a pattern. It has a very interesting basket weave, and that detail is drawing my eye. So if it's going to be boring, make it really boring, but not quite so dark. Again, I think it's getting, when you see this page on a wider monitor like this, it's a little more oppressive when you see large areas of that dark green. The other thing is, again, just the header. You can't go from white to dark to white again. You really want me focusing just here on the content part, which means the header can't be white. And again, just back on our design, There's what that looks like, just a medium color header. Okay. And by the way, this has nothing to do with the design. And again, like I said, I'm really have to say pretty sick of looking at our own site. And so we're in the middle of a redesign right now, and we independently told our designer to go do her thing, and she came up with, one of our designers came up with, I'm going to pull it up here, this particular design, and I'm going to show it to you, and it's, here, let me just resize this thing. Again, it's just the content doesn't matter. This is just directional or placeholder content. But you can see, let me know when you can see that. It's a very different design, right? Different.
This headline is really, really long.
Huh?
I just like that it says this headline is really, really long.
Yeah, yeah. So, but you can see we've different brand colors. I mean, we're focusing on our orange more, our brand color accents for that. And we have the drop shadows, the round stuff, the wraparounds, all of that. The weird buttons hanging off the bottom and the call to action blocks, which have asymmetric little manila tabs on them. So whatever, okay, design away to your heart's content, but do you still get the basic idea that the content is here and then everything else is non-content?
Right.
Okay.
Yep, I'm with you.
So that's why your header's got to be darker. It can't be like this where it goes from bright to dark to, you want to bring the eye forward and make it clear the header is not to be looked at for too long. Okay. Any questions about the shell, the design, or the page shell itself?
No. I'm hoping you guys are gonna help with the redesign on some ideas there, because I mean, I'm hearing everything you're saying, but I couldn't.
Don't know how to translate that into.
I couldn't translate it into actionable items.
Okay.
All the text and things like that. We can definitely fix things like that, but some of the things you're saying, I just wouldn't know how to do. I mean, plain and simple.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
do have a developer, so I mean, if he's given PSDs, he can code them. But anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as part of the fix, we can definitely help. All right, let's see. So let's talk next about your information architecture. Now we're going to talk about the content, which is probably the part you thought we were going to start with, in the content part of the page. But again, one of the things that we found is that if you don't have the first impression right, and if you don't have the page shell right, and you don't have, sorry, I got to reset my pen again. If you don't have the information architecture right, then the content is surrounded by the wrong stuff, and it's not nearly as effective. So let's look at your navigation. Okay, home, how it works. Again, in the context of Hemorrhoid Harry, how it works doesn't help me at all. Okay, but if you did put a tagline in that said all natural hemorrhoid treatment, then that makes sense. Okay, how it works. Testimonials, I would probably put that next. Actually, first, before I even talk about reordering stuff or changing, and let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have about the right number of items on the nav bar. 7, give or take, is the number of items that somebody can keep in short-term memory without forgetting an item in a list. So my suggestion would be to get this down by 1 at least. Now I'm not sure.
We can drop the pregnancy one without any issue. That one was really designed to be a specific landing page for PPC that we're working on, but it really hasn't done that well, so I could drop that one off.
Yeah, or it can still live as a standalone kind of catcher's mitt, but it doesn't deserve to be in the top nav is probably the point. Okay.
Okay.
And then other products, well, I understand you're only selling 3 bottles a day-ish from the questionnaire, right? I mean, if you have other products that are not Hemorrhoid Harry, then, how many of those are you selling?
Not many. Definitely not. We're trying to cross-sell with our other formulas that we have, but we're not doing much there.
Yeah, I say nuke it, just because of focus. If you want to be Hemorrhoid Harry, the all-natural hemorrhoid treatment, then what do other products have to do with it? It's like, so you're kind of killing yourself by product line extension. I mean, it's better to be really, really single focused, I would say. Being a specialist in something is actually pretty strong positioning in the age of the internet, because you have people that are looking for a specific thing, and that's what you want to emphasize. So I would nuke the other products and the pregnancy.
What about, and I'm fine with that, what about...
In Order Now, I'd make it stand out more.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually finding, because I've been manning the chat, the whole reason I added that chat, which has only been on there for a month and a half, was to try to see what questions people are asking that I'm not answering.
Great customer research, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been working really well. We've been able to make a few implementations from what people are asking over and over, and I'm shocked how many people ask me how much it costs. So there's something there where I'm not getting enough people to the Order Now page. I have a Google Analytics goal funnel, and of the people that get to where they can see their pricing and check out, that number is quite high. But the amount of people that actually look to that page to even see what the pricing is surprisingly low, and it's just shocking how many people on chat ask me how much it costs. So something isn't standing out enough with Order Now and pricing.
Well, yeah, so like I said, the Order Now is hidden. It's at the end of a really dull, boring, low-contrast nav bar with 8 items, so they're not even going to notice it. So usually when you have kind of a global call to action on a microsite like this, which is dedicated to a single product, you really need to make that pop more on the nav bar so it's real clear. Okay. Or maybe not even Order Now, which might be a little too aggressive, but pricing. On the pricing page, you have the Order Now call to action. You see what I mean? I mean, if you let's order this stuff. Maybe you leave the Order Now, but you also have pricing separately. How it works. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Mute your phone, Neil. Geez.
Hey, no, it's hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Now.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, we sometimes get these little audio dropouts if our internet connection is wigging or something. Anyway, we're back. So what I was saying is, you may be okay to have Order Now, but you also need just pricing. So how it works would be first. Testimonials would be second. Ingredients third. FAQs fourth. And then you have pricing fifth, and then Order Now would be sixth. Of course.
So the pricing and Order Now would go to the same page, though, right?
No, you would go to a pricing page, which would show you the different pricing options, and then would go to different Order Now buttons. In other words, if I go to Order Now, and you have 3 different things. So on the pricing page, you just have well.